What's up? I'm Jordan, and this is gonna be my review for season 1 of the Fallout TV series. So I'm gonna start by saying I'm a huge fan of Fallout. Played New Vegas, Fallout 3, 4, and 76. I didn't finish 76 though. But so of course I didn't play 1 and 2, but I knew the story from those two also. All right, so the show all aired in all at one time, so I watched all 8 episodes in 2 days, and I'm gonna say overall, I think the show was amazing. I'll probably give it. I'm torn between a 9 and like an 8.5, but I'm thinking like if I was to grade this as like a teacher, and it was something that like a student had turned in for a project or something like that, just saying like, this is a 90 to me, or a 9, you know what I mean? In terms of the little things that I may not have liked were so small gripes to me that it really didn't lower what score that I would have given the show. So I'm gonna start by saying this is gonna contain spoilers for the whole series, and it's not gonna be all in order. I'm not gonna go through like an episode rundown in order. So I might talk about something that happens in some seasons, episode 8, and episode 1 also right after that. So there's 3 main characters: Lucy, who's a vault dweller from Vault 33; Maximus, who's a member of the Brotherhood of Steel; and the Ghoul, who is of course a ghoul that had been around since before the bomb was dropped, the first bomb, and he is he's a ghoul. He used to be an actor, and he didn't make it into a vault, and his wife worked for Vault-Tec. That is a very interesting storyline to me. The whole Vault storyline was very interesting. With Lucy's brother, I forget his name, but I would say he's a secondary character. He's not one of the main characters, but he is the fourth, the character you see the fourth most. So he is in every episode, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember any episodes where they didn't show him. And his story is intriguing to me because of the story of what actually happened with the vault and everything. So this is supposed to be canon. I've already heard I saw some articles and everything where a lot of fans don't like it because they changed the lore. Now, in terms of me, when they change the lore in certain things, I feel differently about it each time. It's either I hate it, or I don't care, or I think it made it better. Now, if this was a Metal Gear Solid TV show and they changed anything, I'm pretty sure I would hate it. They would have I couldn't imagine them making it better. So I would probably hate it. With the lore changes, the change that they made to the lore in this, and okay, spoiler alert, like I said, in this show, you don't find out until episode 7 or 8. It might actually be episode 8, that China did not drop the bomb. It was Vault-Tec that dropped the bomb. Now, a lot of people consider this a lore change, and a lot of people are not going to like it. Me personally, I absolutely love it. And that is because the nature of the lore in the game. You get the lore through reading, the computer terminals and Vault-Tec vaults and other facilities around the world where you're in a vault or not. And, you might get some from a Brotherhood of Steel computer and this and that, and you piece the lore together. I personally never believed it was all true. That being said, and by that I mean I always thought that China was blamed for dropping the bomb, but that they actually didn't drop the bomb. And so, because that was my own personal headcanon, and I felt like that's what they were implying in some of the games, and some of the things you would read, because Vault-Tec is a shady corporation that lies. So why would I just believe that when they said like, oh, literally this is what I always thought happened. So it's like actually vindicating my own headcanon. So how could I not love that? It's like if you always had a theory and your friends were like, you're always wrong, this is what the Lord says, and this and that, and then something happens which they consider a retcon, but to you that's how you always interpreted it, then it's actually vindication. So I loved that change, which many people don't like. China didn't drop the bomb, the first bomb. In every bomb, it was Vault-Tec, and I love that. Love it completely. I think that actually makes the lore of Fallout better for me, but not actually better for me, because that's what I thought it always was. I always thought that it was a lie that China dropped the bomb. And you know, America, we got those missile defenses and the jet with the laser internals. People hear that, they don't, they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, you guys didn't watch Future Weapons. They've been working on these things for decades. We've been had them. So this is the future where they have smaller lasers. You know, lasers aren't hard to make. It's small lasers. That's why even the naval ships have experimental lasers on them now. They've had them for some years. you know, and so the lore of the bomb didn't come from outside of America. It was Vault-Tec. They launched the bomb. I really like that. 100%. So that change does not matter to me at all. Like I said, more than not matters, it actually makes it better. So let's go into the things. Like I said, I don't want to go into too much of a breakdown, and it might be a little bit of a weird breakdown if you didn't see it. But when I'm making my videos, I'm usually assuming that someone watching it, if it has seen it. Like usually I'll watch a review for something after I watch it, which might be strange to some people. Like, why watch a review after? I want to see if other people agree. Now, like I said, I'm torn between an 8 or a 9. I asked one of my best friends, who's the one who actually introduced me to the Fallout games when we were teenagers. I would play them at his house, and then he actually let me borrow his copy of New Vegas when we were younger, and that was the first Fallout game I played. Then I borrowed his copy of Fallout 3, and then of course I bought Fallout 4 and I bought Fallout 76 when they came out. But the first 2 games he already had them, so he was just like, yo, play this. And so because I am interested in the world, you know, the little fan service, you know, dog meat and all of that. The dog's name is Dog Meat, of course. I love that. I will say, all right, there's no, well, that they show the skull of a, no, I can't even remember. There's, like, I'm always drawing blanks when I'm doing these videos, but, yeah. So you do see some monsters. You see the red roaches. You see the 2-headed Brahmin or whatever. You don't see a super mutant. You do see some other mutated creatures, and there's ghouls. And then I can't remember. This is the main enemy. Whatever. So anyway, I like how they did the lore. To me, it was true to the lore. You know, laser guns, Brotherhood of Steel armor, the Brotherhood of Steel being assholes. Because, you know, when I play the games, I always join every faction, and then like do as many missions as I can for each faction before. Some of the games you could do that more easily. I think in one of them they might like catch on, but I'm pretty sure you could, at least with each faction, you could go until like the ending missions. And then you can't do them. I think it might be Fallout 4. You can only do like the ending mission for one faction first, but I might be wrong about that. 'Cause I do always try to join all the factions, you know, play every side, get all the equipment, all the bonuses from all the factions. And it is funny that like I'm watching the show and I'm just like, pick that up. Like she doesn't pick up practically anything. I'm like, you're not prepared for the wasteland. But I do like Lucy as a character. I liked all of the characters. Maximus, to me, might have been the weakest character in terms of, like, just how the character was written. But I do like certain things, like when he's, when he gets the armor, because his his knight dies, and he lets him die because he was just an asshole. I think that's cool. Now so I pretty much like everything about the show. So assuming you've seen it or seen other reviews, I don't really need to go into it. And plus, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to go into it. Go out, watch it. I think it was great. So I guess I'll say, since I pretty much like everything, I like the characters, I like the art and how they depicted the world from the game. It was like, to me, it was like I was literally watching Fallout in live action. And usually I don't want to watch shows in live action because of something that people complain about a lot, but I don't think should be a complaint about anything that comes from video games or comics or a cartoon or anime made into live action, which people call always the suspension of disbelief. It has to be believable in this universe. To me, that ruins every project that sucks is because of from Dragon Ball Evolution. They want to try everything that sucks. It is because they feel that the original source material is not realistic enough, that the general public won't believe it. Stop making shows. Now, they didn't do that in this show, but for every other adaptation of comics and movies and games, stop making shows to appeal to people that aren't fans of the franchise in an attempt to gain more fans. Keep the franchise the same and put it on TV. And the people that will like it will like it. But you have no idea. I feel like they never even try. Like no one's ever even ever even tried to just do everything exactly as it is. Always worried. But is somebody's grandma gonna believe this? Who cares? It's not the game ain't for somebody's grandma. The show shouldn't be for somebody's grandma. If somebody's grandma sees it and likes it, then okay. If she doesn't believe, show wasn't for her in the first place. You know what I mean? If you see the super mutants, if you see the rad roaches, if you see the armor and you're like, oh, this is not realistic, this show that's based on a game, then it's not for you. And you will still gain more fans. I feel like they think only, first of all, the game sold a lot, but I feel like they think if I make it just like the game, only the people that like the game will like it, because a lot of people didn't play the game. A lot of people don't play video games. Maybe if they were people who played video games, they would like the story and they would need to have a suspension of disbelief. You know what I mean? So there's people that might not play video games, but would still like the story and everything in the world exactly as it is. So to me, even when they make comic book costumes, like, oh, who would wear that in real life? Nobody. It's a comic book. I don't care if nobody would wear that in real life. And plus, people cosplay all the time. So cosplayers will wear that in real life. And superheroes too. Like, who cares? So it's like, I hate when there's just like, no, this guy's got to wear like jeans. He can't have a bright costume. He's got to wear jeans. Like, no, he doesn't have to wear jeans. It's unbelievable. But yet it's believable that no one can recognize Superman. Come on. I feel like a bright random costume. You can be like, that's Balenciaga. You know, have you seen runway or Gucci or whatever? Have you seen runway shows? They have like the most ridiculous things in the world that they're wearing. So there's no costume that I won't believe a person won't wear. Okay, but I'm glad that they didn't do that. So for that alone, because they didn't shy away from anything, they actually had ghouls. I was thinking maybe they won't have ghouls, maybe they won't have this or that. You know, they had dog meat, they had the gore and the violence of Fallout, and I did not expect that. I didn't expect to see people's heads getting blown off, limbs mangled, chest cavities. So a guy putting a gun on the wall and shoving the guy's face onto the gun to blow his head off, and then shooting through his head. It wasn't my friend that saw it was like, oh, he's using his head as a silencer, but I don't think he was using it as a silencer. I just felt like he didn't even feel like pulling the guys. I felt like they were going for cool looking executions, not as, oh, the showrunner wants to make it cool execution, but like they're raiders and they kill people all the time, so they want to make it look cool. Like, yo, you see how I killed that guy, man? Put the gun on the wall and then put his head on the gun. That's crazy, you know what I mean? I think they were just trying to kill him with style. And sometimes, and I believe if you're a raider, you kill people every day. Just like you're a basketball player, you play basketball every day. You're gonna try to do some cool moves to impress your friends. Like, oh, you can't do that, you know. I think that's what some of the Raiders were trying to do with those kills. The intrigue, the story of the past, and how the guy's wife, and then the ultimate revelation of Vault-Tec, but how the guy's wife was, and the whole series, you know she's with Vault-Tec, but you don't think she's, like, you really believe her when she says she's trying to make things change, and then she ends up being the one, like, you think she's a nice lady, she ends up being the one saying, we're gonna drop the bomb. We're not waiting for China, we're not waiting for nobody, we're starting this nuclear war. So that our vaults could have a purpose, like he said, fiduciary responsibility in the one episode. And you know, I've been reading finance books and stuff over the past couple years, so I understood that, and that was a cool little Easter egg for me, I guess. I wouldn't really be an Easter egg, but so I like the series. My friend, the one who introduced me to Fallout and everything, he liked it more. He said it was the best first season of anything he's ever seen. Me personally, I can't say that. I will say I liked it more than The Last of Us. I didn't play The Last of Us games. I know the story of the games. You know, I didn't play the games. But I did like the show, but I felt like this was better. More gore. And I really liked it. I really liked it. And I also wanted to respond to some things that other people, like I already talked about. People are saying they didn't like the lore. Another thing that people didn't like, they didn't like how it kind of changed tone. The first 4 episodes, the second 4 episodes have more of a comedic tone. To me, that also doesn't bother me. I always felt like the Fallout games weren't 100% serious, and there was always a comedic undertone in it to me, or at least I found some things funny. So that also didn't bother me at all. Actually, it was a plus. Like when they were gonna when it seemed like they were gonna execute her in what episode was that? 5, I think. When it seemed like they were gonna execute Lucy in Vault 4, and then they just let her go. Her punishment was to go back to the surface where she wanted to go all the time. And they thought they were going to be trapped down there. Even though Maximus was starting to like it. He had his first hot shower. And, you know, they gave him a robe, slippers, food, you know, fresh water. So he's like ready to stay. And of course, he sees her getting taken. And he thinks she's going to be executed. So he puts on his armor and messes, like, he doesn't kill anyone, but he beats them all up until she stops him and they have to leave. But he leaves with the power armor and brings it back, you know. I like that whole segment. I liked that the Vault dwellers were actually the mutants that they were experimenting on, and they revolted and took over. I like that aspect of it, that they weren't evil, and it was like a relief that it wasn't like, oh, this cannibal tribe that she's gonna has to go through. Like, it felt kind of like The Walking Dead when they thought they got saved and then, you know, it was cannibals. I was glad that it wasn't that. Honestly, I was glad that it wasn't that it ended happily and lightheartedly. I don't have problems with tonal changes. I didn't have problems with, okay, I did have a problem with Maximus lying in the beginning, and I was like, oh, come on. That's the thing. The things that I took off points for or lowered the score for from like a 10 to me to maybe even an 8 or 8.5 overall was Maximus lying. From the beginning, he could have told the Brotherhood of Steel, hey, Knight Titus was a punk. He ran like a bitch. A bear killed him. He could have said that from the beginning. Because what was his? He said they won't kill me if I bring back the head, which is true. But you were still gonna have to explain what happened to Titus sooner or later. It's not like you're just gonna keep you like you're never gonna raise up your helmet. You're never gonna meet somebody that might know Knight Titus and recognize something's up. I did like how the Brotherhood of Steel guy forgave him both times. The first time when they think he injured his friend because his friend is supposed to be leaving, supposed to be the squire. It turns out his friend actually harmed himself, but they accused him. They thought he was jealous, and they just didn't really like him in the Brotherhood of Steel, you know. And when he tells the overseer of the Brotherhood of Steel, I forgot what they're called, like clerics, when he tells the cleric, when he asks, so how did, he said, you're ambitious for power and this and that. And when he asks, how did Titus die? He said he died running. He was like, it's like he kind of already knew that some of these guys were punks. Titus was already probably like on thin ice maybe with the Brotherhood or whatever. But he was not surprised that Titus died running. And so that made him think, all right, at least you made the Brotherhood look good. You're not a punk like Titus, so maybe you make a good knight. I did like that reveal in the end. Overall, with the story of what was going on with the vaults, I like that. I liked how her the whole story of her father and mother, that was a good twist for me. I didn't expect that her father was bad at all. I felt he was just a victim. I felt he didn't know anything, just like she didn't know anything. But I always knew from the beginning when she took him, I was like, and she knew and she recognized her mother, I was like, he probably did do something, but I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I didn't think it was to the extent of whatever. Like maybe he knew things were cool outside, like him and her mom went out there real quick, explored the world for a little bit and then came back, and that was the secret, that they had met that lady out there or something, and that's how she knew them. I did like the overall reveal, and her brother. Now, they didn't really tie up any storylines, but to me, they finished it enough. Most shows don't tie up any storylines now. In a single season or the first season, they might tie up a storyline or two, So I think the actress that played Lucy played good. I think all the actors did good. Even I do think Maximus's actor did too. I don't dislike the performance. I dislike the choices that the character made. He didn't watch. Lucy's from a vault. She never heard of Knight Titus. So why would he even lie to her about that? Like, say, I'm Knight Titus. You could just say her name is Maximus from the beginning. She won't know. You could have told her the whole story. Like when she said your organization is not, you could have said, I thought they were. Some of them is actually cowards. They're not all good, but they're not all bad. It's like a gray area. Sometimes we're better than sometimes we're worse. Whatever. He could have kept it real from the beginning. And he wouldn't have had to make that reveal at the end, which ultimately she didn't care. And also felt that she shouldn't care. Like she said, she's like, I've been up here 2 days and I, like I killed somebody yesterday. Like, so she's like, I threw acid in an innocent man's face. So therefore, like, you've been out here a while. Who even knows what you've been through? And so I understand, like, this place, you got to do what you got to do. And he could have said that from the beginning. And by that point, she hadn't thrown acid in the guy's face when they first met. Or the second time we met when she saves him. So maybe it would have been a bit, but she wouldn't have even known. He could have just said, I'm Knight Maximus. Maybe he was thinking later on, or if she calls him Maximus and somebody from the Brotherhood is around, which what was he expecting? He already told his squire and he was already going to go running the snitch. So it was like, who you lying to? Nobody's like, it's not like the people from town are going to be like, Titus, what's up? So there was no reason for that. So I felt like he did some no reason lies. And that's something that I don't like. I dropped the eye. So I was like, I can't give it. But I also didn't want to be too critical of things where it's like, I would have written that differently, because who says everything has to be written like how I would have written it, I'm not a Hollywood writer. So overall, I didn't mind the lore change. To me, it was vindication for what I always thought was the truth. And I also didn't mind any of the other changes. So overall, the show for me was an 8, and I'm gonna wrap it up. This video is a lot longer. All right, 8 or a 9. I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta get my scoring down. I gotta figure her out, but definitely a great show. Definitely something you could get taken care of. Get taken care of. I'm getting distracted because like my dog's making noise. People just came in the house. Yeah, definitely something you should watch and check it out. I loved it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I didn't like it as much as my friend, but I did like it, and the action was great. Although the final battle could have been a little better, but overall it was great. Have a nice day, and I'll be back with more reviews and stuff later.